Welcome to Creative Spirit Gathering, our Monday morning chance to get together for spiritual inspiration and creative expression in our art journals. So today I'm going to be doing something a little bit new for those of you that have been following the program. We're going to be doing a demonstration of process today. Usually I just kind of talk about what I did, and this time around we're actually going to do a little demonstration as well. So welcome to something new. Yay!
Changes.
And our theme for September is embracing change. And so I figured I might as well model what I'm teaching, right? So for today's activity, I'm actually going to be sharing with you a tool that helps us to practice being present to what is, present to all of it, the good, the bad, the ugly, the pieces that we would much rather not even acknowledge. We're going to presence it just for a little bit. We're not going to sit there and live in that space, but just to acknowledge, because so often we have all these things that we're carrying around in our minds and in our hearts, and we're not even aware that we're holding on to these ideas. So by giving ourselves a place to presence them, we're going to have a place to release them. How does that word even feel to you? Release. Release something for a little while. It can be a magical thing. So we're going to presence using written word. And then we're going to transform those words into something new. I'm going to show you how we're going to do that in just a minute. And it can become a beautiful reminder then every time you go back to your page of how you took presencing everything that is, even the muck, and transformed it into something new through spiritual awareness and that power to create something new in your life, even if it's on a journal page, can be such a powerful reminder that we have this power in all aspects of our lives as well. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my other camera so you can see what I'm doing here. So as you can see, I have very simple materials out today. I have some loose paper, then my journal, paintbrush and some water. This happens to be a colored pencil, but you can use any writing material. I have glue, scissors, and these paints came from my son's craft kit, just to demonstrate the fact that you don't need anything fancy for this. So the first thing we're going to do, and you don't have to do it step by step with me, I'm just going to talk you through the steps first, and then when I release you into your free journal time, you can explore if this is something that you want to try in your journal today or you want to do something else. Because as always, you are welcome to explore. So the first thing we're going to do is simply use a sheet of loose paper to write out what's going on, you know. And so I would just keep going, write, scribble all the way down the page. And then I'm just going to take a moment to be with that. Just be present to, okay, I just released all of this stuff onto the page. And then I'm going to take that page and with great dignity, I'm going to tear it up. Without any I am just tearing. So now I have all of those ideas that I released onto the page, and just that process of tearing it can be a huge release to remind ourselves that we are not trapped by these ideas. It's just a current moment, right? So that place that we were when we wrote them, we're in a new place already, just a few seconds later. We've released, and so now we're opening space for new energy, new ideas. So then I'm going to use these pieces to glue them into my journal and create something new out of what was. Now, for anybody who's ever watched a butterfly move through its life stages, you know that it moves from caterpillar to chrysalis, and then the wings begin to emerge. So I'm going to glue down some butterfly wings to represent change. And I realize that I now have pretty much white on white. You get the idea. So I'm using these kind of big loose pieces and just tearing them into the shapes that I want, just loosely. And of course, you could do this with scissors if you want to have more of a clean look. But I love the process of just tearing it up and being able to have that ripping feeling. There's something cathartic in that release. So I would do this for several of my pieces and create something new. Just creating with what's right in front of me. And then as my page is complete, I can move into something. I'm going to use paint here, but you could use crayons. You could use oil pastels would work well with this because it'll cover up that writing that you have on there. And so I can fill things in. If I didn't have loose pages to make the perfect shape, I can always change it when I get into this stage. Now I do want to note that if you're moving from the torn process, gluing down, and then immediately going into something like paint, something that's water-based, if that glue doesn't have enough time to dry, it might start pulling up on you. So take a moment and just meditate into that space while the glue is drying. Or again, you can use something like crayons or markers that aren't going to affect it as much. So voila, I've transformed my energy through the process, moving from one idea of what was into what's possible. Because again, that butterfly image for me can represent that idea of what is possible. What can I bring into being into this experience? So taking, transforming whatever is, and then giving it that space to turn into something new. Now, anyone that has been following me on Facebook, you will know that not only is the butterfly something that came up in my journal today, but my son and I have been keeping caterpillars and watching them transform. Actually, throughout the summer, we are now on our third one. So we just keep finding them out in the garden, and now it's a thing with him, so he would like to bring them in. And we have had to learn about, not only what do they need in each stage of their development, but what's really happening in that chrysalis stage. Because when we're talking about the caterpillar, right, it's such a visible transformation. You see this little crawly thing, and you see it grow and grow as it devours your garden. And in this case, we're feeding it from the garden, which is even funnier because we're purposely picking the things from the garden to bring it inside and feed it. But it went from this little guy to this big one like this, big fat caterpillar, and then of course starts climbing everywhere and looked like it was dead for a couple of days before we started noticing the chrysalis. It just kind of like curled up on its side even, and it wasn't moving. And, I had to, again, Google research and prepare Noah for the worst case option to happen here. And I just want to say that I have felt like that caterpillar this summer and this spring. There's been those moments where it's like, well, first of all, let me just eat everything to process what's going on. And then like just lay down. It's like, I can't even, But when we look at what's happening to the caterpillar is that moment of where it looks like it's just done. It's not even moving at all. It's preparing for the next stage. it's getting ready. And then we see this chrysalis begin to form around it. And in that stage of the chrysalis, again, too much Google here, but I learned that the caterpillar actually liquefies in that space. Has anyone else felt a little gooey this year? Right? It's like the 2020 goo of being in the chrysalis. We're still in it. We haven't yet emerged. And I feel like this process for our art is that part where we're tearing it up. We're taking all of what we're feeling, all of what we're experiencing, all of what we're seeing, anything we want to change, and we tear it up. And now it's like in all these little pieces. It's like our goo. And then the caterpillar has imaginal cells that it is born with. And those imaginal cells know how to become butterfly. They have like the pattern already written in them for the caterpillar to become butterfly. And we have within us the power of imagination, that spiritual power that can help us become what it is that we are called to be through this time of transformation. So as we rip up those pages, we move from caterpillar state into that awareness of goo state. And maybe we're still feeling goo, right? Maybe we're not quite feeling like we've emerged yet. But we have the opportunity to use the power of imagination and create a journal page today by meditating on what it is that we do want to see moving forward. What is the world that we want to live in? What is the role that we want to play in that world? How do we want to show up in it? What strength and courage do we see ourselves portraying? These are all those spiritual powers that we can claim as ours through this power of imagination and through our journaling time together today. So whether you create a butterfly or you create something for yourself that represents that awareness of claiming something new for yourself in your life, I hope that this idea, this process today will give you some tools that you can use, again, either in today's journal or in future journals, to transform what is into what is possible. Transform what is into what is possible. And in this way, we can embrace change. We can feel empowered in this change because change is going to happen to us whether we want it to or not. So we might as well have a little creative say in what that is. So we're going to take this idea and this energy now into a time of meditation so that we can simply breathe into this moment before we begin our art journal experience. So wherever you are, I invite you to get comfortable in your seat, or if you're laying down or standing. Some people enjoy movement as part of their meditation. I invite you to do whatever feels comfortable to you. Simply presence the body a moment. Make sure that the body's needs are met. And then we close our outer eyes and breathe into the present moment. Simply allowing ourselves to become mindful of what is. As you continue to breathe, allow yourself to move through the senses. It's a presencing activity. Notice what you hear. Notice what you smell. Notice if there's any taste in your mouth. Notice what you feel. Is the air on your skin warm or cold? Is there a breeze? And see if you can notice, even with your eyes closed, a difference in the light that you can see. And as we practice this mindfulness, we now bring our awareness to our inner being, bringing our awareness to our heart center, and simply presence the light at the center of your being as we practice mindful meditation for a moment in silence. And with the next breath, begin to bring your awareness consciously to your heart, to your senses. And as we flutter our eyes open, we bring this energy of mindful awareness into our journal practice as we explore and express this moment, explore and express the transformation process, and explore and express what is possible right here and now. And so it is.